Hi, this is Lauren from LSP Actions and welcome to video tutorial number 3 for the Real Rabbit overlays for Photoshop. In this video tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to add the bunnies and mask them on a grassy outdoor image. If you're unsure of how to unzip the bunny file, how to load the actions into Photoshop and how to get your brushes into your brush panel, please do watch the beginning of video 1 where I show you exactly how to do that. In this video I'm just going to dive straight in and get started using the steps I've already shown you in video number 1 and 2. So I'm going to go straight ahead and choose step 1, choose the bunny. And you need to locate the bunnies on your computer. So for this image I'm going to go for, let's go for this pair of bunnies here, Buddy and Rudy, and hit place. Now with outdoor images it's a little bit tough to see sometimes which direction the light is coming in. This is actually lit from the behind. But the bunnies should still be able to go into this one okay. I'm just going to add a little extra lightning to them. But it's very important to kind of observe the light in your image and make sure that you kind of either flip the bunnies to match the lighting or you add and blend the lighting in there to suit so they look realistic. So add them in and hit enter. And you will notice up here in the layers panel it's added the bunny as a smart object with a white layer mask next to it. Again, if any of this goes over your head a little bit or I'm going a little bit too fast, please watch video 1 where I explain it all. So I'm going to hit step 2 to blend the bunny. This is going to create a host of lighting layers for me to be able to use with a white brush on these black layer mask boxes here. So make sure your brush is on white, 100% opacity, 25% flow, and you can get started on these. You'll notice it's already selected add shadows under or around the bunny. So I'm just going to add a little bit of shadowing here. And you can use black to hide and white to show. And now I'm going to come up onto the bunny layers. So we've got lift shadows, brighten up, add shadow. So I'm going to add perhaps a touch of shadow along the bottom here. If it's a little bit strong, you can use X on your keyboard to turn to black, or you can simply come up to the opacity and turn any of these down or up. They're all completely editable. The bunnies you can see here, you can turn them on or off, they're not flattened onto your image at all. Because this image is quite a light and hazy, I'm going to use hazy lighten up here, just to blend these bunnies even more with the image. Perhaps a little darkening too. I'm going to add some brighten up, especially coming in on this ear here, because you can see the image is slightly backlit there coming in from this angle. And when you're done with that, you can click Edit the Tones and Textures, and this will add some yellow layers, so you see the blending layers are green. It's added these yellow layers in now. So we can soften up the bunny fur a little bit, around the edges perhaps. I'm going to use the cool toner, just a little. Use the bracket keys on your keyboard to make the brush smaller or larger. And perhaps a little extra warmth on this guy here. You also have eye bright, so if you wanted to, you can brighten up the bunny's eyes by making a small brush and zooming in. And a little brightness there to mimic these catch lights. And I'm going to go on the Binky Sharp. And just sharpen up those faces a touch. So you can just keep playing with these. You can add your own editing layers too, just to really blend these bunnies with your image. And when you're done you can choose flatten bunny layers. But they're not flattened to your image, they're just flattened into an individual rasterized layer here. Your image is still intact underneath. And the next step is, if you want to, you have extra bunny tweaks here, dark and light, and these are just one click. So for example matte, I've slightly mattified, or contrast, you can add that in. You can just click these to play and undo if you don't like the effect. And now I'm going to use the brush to add a little bit of grass down here and mask these bunnies in with this grass. So make sure you selected the white layer mask next to your bunny layer here. Make sure you're not on the bunny layer, you need to be on the layer mask. Right click and scroll down and you will see your bunny hot brushes appear at the bottom here. If you don't see them, you simply need to go on the folder where your brushes are stored, double click the bunny brush ABR file and it will load here into the bottom of your brush palette. Select the grass brush, change your brush to black, and you'll notice the flow has changed accordingly to 100%. You can use the bracket keys to make the brush, the grass smaller or larger. So you can see here the brush is starting to appear. I can go very large or very small. So I'm just going to take that down small to begin with and see how that goes, because it will change size as it goes. Again, make sure you're on the lay mask. You see now that looks very big. So hit Control or Command Z to undo, and use the bracket key to shrink down. You'll probably find the size it kind of sets to automatically is about right. So I'm just going to paint this around the bunny's feet a little bit. Use the bracket keys to make it larger or smaller, and I'm just dotting this in here. Now don't worry if it's a little bit too much and it's going over the bunnies, because you can right click and back up, select your soft round brush, still on black. Oh, sorry, change to white even, and you can start painting some of the bunnies back in, so you don't have this kind of the grass going all the way over them. This is all still on the mask here, so you can use this as you need to kind of paint that grass in. If you have a blurred foreground, you can also just use a normal soft brush just to add a little bit of blurring in and a little bit of grass there, like this. Hold down X to switch to white, X to switch back to black. Just use X to paint in and out. So you see now it's the bunnies before the grass and after there, and we've masked some of that grass in. You also have a fur brush to add some little fur of the bunny if you want to, a flickati long brush and a flickati round brush too, for studio images there, or for fluffy floors, fluffy rugs, anything like that. So that is before and after there. Adding the bunnies to an outdoor image again, pay attention to the light. You can hold down Control or Command T to resize these bunnies as you want them to, be sized to your image. Remember, bunnies aren't tiny. Having the bunnies as small as their little baby, who's like a 1-year-old, they're too small. So remember, bunnies aren't tiny. It's all about the blending, before and after. And when you're finished, you can right-click, flatten or not, or you can come up here, File, Save As. You can save it as a PSD file or a TIFF if you want to come back and edit, or save it as a JPEG for your client. I'm just going to use Blur the Bunny to add a little bit more blurring to the back. Make sure you've selected the bunny layer first before you play this, before you play any of these. And I'm just going to paint that on to add a little more depth of field there. And you can right click and merge that down, preserve the layer mask, and there's your bunnies. And at any point you can add your own layers in, right click, create a clipping mask, to add and edit these bunnies further. So I'm just adding a little bit of darkness there. I'm going to Control or Command I to invert that layer mask and use a white brush just to paint some of this darkness in. So that's how to add and blend the bunnies to an outdoor grassy image using the LSP Real Rabbit Overlays, which is 45 rabbit images. The Photoshop actions and the brushes come with that. And you can get those at www.lsp-actions.com. Again, at any point you can go back and watch video tutorial number 1, which is a complete step-by-step tutorial to getting everything loaded up into Photoshop and how to use the bunnies. I'm Lauren, thanks for watching.